Let your real world actions do all the talking for you and allow her own imagination to do the heavy lifting. When you give a woman the space to wonder, to miss you, and to pursue your attention, you flip the dynamic entirely. Stop giving away your mystery for free. Step back into your silent power and let her spend her energy chasing the man she desperately wants to understand. Let's expose the ultimate differentiator between the men who constantly beg for attention and the men who are relentlessly pursued, living your life with absolute purpose and vision. Let's lay the brutal truth bare right now. A man without a clear, definitive mission is nothing more than a helpless leaf blowing aimlessly in the wind. He has no internal anchor, no direction, and no momentum of his own. Because he is empty inside, he becomes entirely dependent on outside forces and other people just to give him a temporary sense of identity and meaning. Let's be incredibly direct here. A woman might entertain a man like that for a brief moment out of boredom or convenience, but she will absolutely never chase him, respect him, or view him as a high value partner. You need to understand a deep biological and psychological reality about human nature. High value women are instinctively, intensely drawn to men who are completely consumed by a purpose that is vastly bigger than relationships. They are captivated by men who are building empires, chasing excellence, and fighting for a vision. Look back at the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He didn't spend his precious days on earth desperately chasing cheap pleasures, begging for validation, or obsessing over romance. Instead, he spent his entire existence fulfilling his heavy, monumental duty as the ruler of the Western world. That relentless, unwavering commitment to his purpose gave him an undeniable, unshakable presence that history still respects centuries later. When you possess that kind of internal fire, it changes your entire physical and psychological aura. True masculine purpose is entirely magnetic. It radiates loudly without you ever having to say a single word. It shows up clearly in the confident way you walk into a room, the decisive way you speak, and the absolute ironclad way you value your limited time. When a high value woman looks at you and realizes with absolute certainty that she is not the center of your universe, something powerful shifts inside her psychology. When she sees that she is not your main focus, but rather a beautiful, welcome addition to an already epic journey that you are actively building, she won't pull away. Instead, she will actively fight, invest, and run to be included in your story. She wants to ride shotgun in a car that is already speeding toward a massive destination. She does not want to sit in a broken down car with a guy who is waiting for her to turn the key. The absolute single biggest, most catastrophic mistake you can make as a man is making a woman your sole mission in life. The very moment you start canceling your important personal plans, abandoning your fitness goals, skipping your work, or compromising your drive just to make yourself available to please her, your attraction in her eyes dies a sudden death. You think you are proving your love and dedication, but in reality, you are screaming to her subconscious that your internal center is completely hollow. You are showing her that your life has no real weight, no momentum, and no backbone. A woman wants a man who is a rock she can lean on, not a shadow that shifts every single time she moves. If she can bend your entire life out of shape just by batting her eyelashes, she will immediately realize you are weak and look for a man who stands firm. So here is your definitive, non-negotiable action step that you must begin executing starting today. You must explicitly define exactly who you are, figure out precisely where you are going in this life, and then walk that path with absolute, relentless ferocity. It doesn't matter if your current mission is scaling a business, mastering your physical fitness in the gym, or perfecting a creative craft. You must find the thing that lights a fire deep inside your soul and pursue it with everything you have. When you pour your energy into your own self-mastery, your value naturally skyrockets and you become the ultimate prize. You stop chasing from a place of lack and you start attracting from a place of power. Live your life with an unyielding vision. Make your mission your absolute priority and force her to run just to keep up with the unstoppable momentum of your world. Let's break down one of the most misunderstood secrets of high value masculine psychology: mastering the profound art of detachment. Let's correct the biggest misconception right out of the gate. True detachment has absolutely nothing to do with being a cold, heartless robot, treating people poorly, or acting like you don't care about anything. True detachment is actually the highest, most ultimate expression of personal freedom and self mastery. It simply means that while you fully appreciate a woman's company, value her presence, and enjoy the time you spend together, your fundamental sense of self worth, happiness, and identity does not depend on her. You are capable of deeply liking her, but you completely refuse to obsess over keeping her or keeping her happy at the expense of your soul. When you operate from a place where you know with absolute certainty that you could lose everything tomorrow, including her, and still remain a perfectly whole, powerful, and functional man, you project a rare, unyielding aura of strength. This is an incredible psychological superpower that very few men ever achieve. Look at the alternative that plays out every single day in the dating world. The needy, attached man lives in a constant, paralyzing fear of abandonment. Because he is terrified of losing her, he constantly clings, overcompensates, overtexts, and smothers her with attention. He thinks he is showing affection, but in reality, he is suffocating her. This desperate behavior acts as an immediate repellent, instantly destroying whatever raw attraction she initially had for him. The detached man walks a completely different path because he fully internalizes what the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught. Freedom is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Let's be completely direct about reality. You cannot control a woman's shifting moods. You cannot force her to text you back faster. And you cannot dictate her personal choices. Trying to control things outside of yourself is a fool's errand that only breeds anxiety and weakness. The only things you have absolute authority over are your own standards, your own boundaries, and your own internal responses. In modern behavioral psychology, this healthy, unshakable state of mind is known as a secure attachment style. It is the ability to connect with someone deeply while remaining entirely free from the desperate, suffocating need to possess or control them. Look at how this plays out in a real world scenario. If a woman suddenly pulls back, becomes distant, or takes a day to reply to a text, the needy man immediately panics. He lets his emotions take the wheel, floods her phone with desperate messages, demands to know what is wrong, and begs for reassurance. He completely exposes his fragility. The detached man handles the exact same situation with total composure. He notices the shift, completely refuses to take it personally, gives her all the space she wants, and goes right back to focusing on his goals and building his empire. He doesn't skip a beat. Now, think about basic human nature and ask yourself, which of these two men is she actually going to miss? Which one is she going to respect, think about, and ultimately run back to? She will always chase the man whose peace of mind cannot be broken by her absence. So here is your definitive, non negotiable action step to implement starting today. You must actively practice the art of detachment in your everyday life. The very next time she cancels a plan last minute, changes her mind, or throws an emotional curveball your way, you must completely refuse to throw a childish tantrum or show frustration. Instead, smoothly adjust your schedule, pivot to your own goals, and move forward with your day as if nothing happened. Show her through your calm, unbothered actions that while you choose to welcome her into your world as a beautiful addition, you absolutely never need her there to survive or feel like a man. When a woman realizes that she cannot control your emotional state with her attention, she stops playing games and starts chasing the unshakable man who knows his own value. Let's strip away all the lies and talk about the absolute peak of masculine attraction: embodying true, unshakable confidence through relentless action. Let's establish a brutal reality check right out of the gate. Real confidence has absolutely nothing to do with having a loud voice, acting like an arrogant braggart, or putting on a performance of fake bravado. Fake confidence is nothing but a flimsy mask used by insecure men to hide their deepest fears. True, bulletproof confidence is something entirely different. It is raw competence, built directly through real world action, kept promises to yourself, and hard victories won in silence. It is the quiet, calm assurance that comes from knowing you have actually done the work, faced the fire, and built something of real value with your own two hands. You need to understand that women have an incredibly sharp, almost evolutionary radar for spotting fake confidence, and they are completely repelled by it. They do not care about your empty promises. They do not care about your big talk. And they absolutely do not care about what you loudly claim you are going to do in the future. Women do not invest their emotions in a man's potential. They chase the man whose daily habits, discipline, and execution prove his current strength. Look back at the great Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius. He didn't just sit around writing beautiful theories about virtue and discipline. He actively lived those principles every single day while carrying the crushing, monumental weight of leading the entire Roman Empire through wars and plagues. His confidence didn't come from speeches, it came from a life lived in absolute integrity. The philosopher Epictetus summarized this entire concept perfectly when he said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is the exact blueprint you must apply to your life if you want to become a truly magnetic man. Let's be entirely direct here. If you tell a woman that you highly value health and fitness, but you have a soft, undisciplined physique, your words mean absolutely nothing. You must go to the gym, lift the heavy weights, and build a powerful, respected body. If you tell her that you are an ambitious, high value man, but you spend your evenings playing video games and skating by at a lazy job, you are a fraud. You need to lock in, master your financial world, and build a successful business or career. If you claim to be a highly disciplined leader, then let that discipline be completely obvious in the clean way you dress, the sharp way you speak, and the powerful way you carry yourself into a room. In the world of behavioral psychology, this is known as behavioral confidence. Confidence rooted in undeniable competence, and it is the ultimate psychological aphrodisiac. When your internal mindset matches your external reality, you create an aura of total certainty and decisiveness. In a hesitant, confused, and insecure world where most people are terrified to make a choice, a man who acts with absolute conviction and clarity is incredibly rare. Decisiveness cuts through the noise like a hot knife through butter. When a woman interacts with a man who is the living embodiment of his own standards, she doesn't feel the need to question him or play games. She instantly feels his weight, senses his direction, and naturally wants to align herself with his momentum. So here is your definitive, non negotiable action step that you must execute starting today. You must completely stop talking, stop bragging, and start executing with savage consistency. Erase the word tomorrow from your vocabulary. If you want a high value woman to respect you, think about you, and chase you, you must become the concrete, undeniable living proof of your own standards. Stop trying to convince the world of your greatness with your tongue and start showing them through the undeniable results of your daily life. When you become a man whose actions speak infinitely louder than his words, you completely flip the script. You no longer have to chase attention because your life becomes a beacon of strength that women will naturally run to keep up with.